Hello, everyone. I hope you are safe at home and excited to join IOTalks. I'm Lama, the co-director of IOTalks. I'm very happy to welcome you to International Online Talks, the one of the first events of its kind to be run by members of the MUN community. IOTalks is an initiative created by my co-director, Gaia Kinorot, and myself and the IOMUN team in order to provide students with knowledge on important skills they should master in Model UN. As for IOMUN, it has been created by two motivated students and one motivated educator to make MUN available during a time of social distancing where conferences and club practices were getting cancelled all over the world. In the weeks since then, two conferences took place with students from 20 countries who would never have met otherwise. IOMUN is truly a place to keep students active and connected through these hard times. To remind you, don't forget to sign up for IOMUN 3, taking place on May 30 till 31st after this event is over. Before I move on, I want to introduce the director of IOMUN, Daniel Gindis, to say a few words. Daniel Gindis is the co-founder of WiseMe, one of the leading websites to teach MUN online, and part of the same team that is developing MUNPAL. Daniel has been teaching Model UN all over the world, and we're very happy to have him bring his experience and leadership to IOMUN.
Thank you, Lama. I'd like to tell you a bit about how IOTalks is going to work. The talks will be presented by advanced mentors and advisors, as well as other relevant speakers. IOTalks are going to be short TED-style talks that will help you viewers learn how to master certain skills through step-by-step how-tos, personal stories, and lectures by our experienced speakers. An underutilized great way to learn things is through others' experience. And MUN is a niche activity where sometimes it's hard to find the experts and the mentors to learn from, especially beyond our immediate circle. And I think that that's some place that IOTalks, both online and international, are able to play a role and a growing role in people's MUN education. You can effectively use the things you learn at future conferences, but also in many other aspects of life. Model United Nations changed my life, the way I think, the way I interact with people, and the friendships that I've made. And I think that the ability here to bring together speakers and motivated people to share their knowledge is something which can really, really make a very big difference. I'm going to turn it back to Lama now, and let's get the show on the road.
Thank you, Daniel. I want to start the event off by sharing how my MUN journey looked by far. Possibly it would help create a clearer image on what motivated the existence of IOTalks. I have been involved in Model UN conferences and activities for 3 years now, and I still remember my first conference. I figured it would be convenient back then for me to partake in it since it was held at my school, Al-Bashair. Then came the shock. Let go of the fact that I was clueless on what a resolution is until asking a friend, who then knew quite a bit regarding MUN. Inside the committee room, quoting from Aladdin, I explored a whole new world. I had several questions and thoughts in my head, from how do I draw people's attention to me to what should I be doing in a non-mod? I may have received basic practice a few days before that conference, but it was nothing like truly being there and living the role. As I participated in more and more conferences, I learned new things, improved some skills, but at the same time, questions were constantly raised to my mind. Possibly the type of questions have changed over time and they grew deeper and more mature. For instance, at my intermediate/advanced levels, I wondered how to research properly, then how to follow the policy of my delegation, stay relevant to the discussion, and be more dominant in the room. Currently, I have grown MUN-wise to work in more directive positions like coaching, chairing a couple of times, and being co-head of this event at the moment. I am still learning and still have questions raised to my mind, and I am constantly working to get answers. So why am I telling you this? Because I am confident I'm not the only person who has been through this journey, and I wish to receive a sense of resignation from you. Some of you joining may still be at the beginning working your way through the MUN world, and others are advanced and know fairly a lot because of their experience. Either way, you always have space to learn new things or see things you already knew in a different style. This is what IOTalks is all about, educating people inside the MUN community on skills required to bring out the best MUNer in you. Whether you're a delegate, chair, or secretariat member, IOTalks offers you interesting talks that provide you with practical steps you can apply in your position to make the best out of it. Finally, I would like to thank our incredible speakers for their enriching talks and ideas. The IO Talks team truly appreciates your efforts. And I want to give a big thank you to the IO Talks hard-working team. This day wouldn't have come to life without your great energies. Daniel also has some observations from the educator perspective. So please, Daniel, you may go and tell us about it.
Thank you, Lama. I can say that for myself, while my delegating experience was, a little while ago now, that the ability to learn from people, touch on what I said before, you needed to fly places to be able to make new friends, to learn from mentors and experience MUN with many different people in the same committee. This is something which for university students was pricey, and for high school students practically impossible. The amount of permissions you needed to get to go to a conference down the road, forget about another country. And it's so much logistical work just to be able to do that. And I don't doubt that the networks and the friendships and the connections created in IOMUN might turn into real conferences one day. But for the moment, to be able to do it from the comfort of your home, to be able to meet and connect is something which I think is really incredible. I learned about how Indian MUNers work when I did MUN in India. I learned how MUN was done in Germany when I was in Germany. And at the first IOMUN, to watch staff and delegates from both India and Germany interacting with others who they wouldn't have met otherwise, including a delegate from New Zealand, was incredible and really showed me that the time for what IOMUN and IOTalks and in general many of the online initiatives are doing has come. Technology wasn't at this place a few years ago. And now that it's here, there needed to be a need to create and to focus on developing the networks and the systems which we are now utilizing. But I think the doors, once open, will still have a place. The idea for the IOMUN Society, which is to take MUNers either who feel they want to grow differently or beyond their club, or for independents who don't have clubs, to be able to together work on projects, to learn, to grow within MUN, I think is an incredible initiative. And I'm very happy to see in the showcase of the IOMUN conferences and IOTalks what motivated, mostly teenagers, can do once they're given that kind of support. And I think this is the beginning for a whole new precedent of ability and innovation. I'm really excited for the IOTalks, the people that they have together here, and I want to commend both Lama and Gaia for the hard work setting it up and getting it together. I also want to thank David Miles, my partner in WiseMe and MUNPAL, for helping set up the back end. If this looks pretty, if this looks good, that's because of his tireless work. And also to everyone else involved, the coaches, the teachers, the educators, the students who gave the talks. And while I think that Lama and Gaia also have a whole bunch of people to thank, oh, and Liran, our head of media, I'd say I'm super excited. I wish I had MUN that I was able to access in the comfort of my home. I know that when I started, I was a delegate. Resources like we have today did not exist. Part of our initiative to create WiseMe was because there wasn't a good authority MUN website that had everything in an organized place. And I think that IOTalks is opening doors today that hopefully the MUNers of the future can take this for granted and get to even higher places. That's it for me. Let's get IOTalks started. Back to you, Lama.
Thank you, Daniel. Moving forward, the schedule is as follows. We start at 4 p.m. and end at about 9:30 p.m. There are 2 tracks for the workshops, beginner track and advanced track. Again. Thank you, Daniel. Moving forward, the schedule is as follows. We start at 4 p.m. and end at about 9:30 p.m. There are 2 tracks for the workshop, beginner track, and advanced track. You can see the schedule in front of you right now. We know some great lectures are taking place at the same time. Don't worry, this login will give you access to the lectures here for the next 3 days to watch what you missed or rewatch a lecture you really liked. You may take a picture of it right now or access it on IOMUN Instagram account and follow us for more updates. Finally, we hope to receive all feedback from you after the event is done, and please do have an enriching experience at IOTalks.